Okay, so I'm just experimenting here. I'm not, this is only a dry run. I'm just seeing how the cells fit into the capsule. So the configuration's not important. I'm just setting the cells into the capsule. So as I say, this is only a dry run. When I go to actually build the packs, I will be doubling up on the insulation of the cells. So that's important across the series connections here. And then the cells will be glued with an epoxy glue, an adhesive, keeping the honeycomb effect, the gaps, to allow for heat dissipation. So I'm just seeing how the cells are fitting. I'm not going to follow the configuration because I couldn't be bothered. To be honest. I'm too tired. I'm seeing how the cells fit into the capsule. So if you look here, you can see the cells aren't sitting with the surfaces tight together like that, where there's no gap in the middle. We have a nice gap in the middle there to allow me to force air through the pack if need be. So this pack's much an experiment. To see how it works out, having the cells in close proximity without the spacers. And the capsule is doing its job here. So the capsule keeps the cells all parallel to each other and nice and uniform, keeping this nice shape to match my bike. E-bike that I'm building. So it's sort of like having the cells flat on a bench, but holding this custom shape set by the capsule. So the plan is to have two banks. We have a bank at the right hand side and we have a bank at the left hand side. That sheet of paper is soaking. So I've configured this in my earlier videos on my channel. I made this capsule on an earlier video, then I configured the pack seen here. So if I line this up, what do we see? So this is the left hand bank, right hand side. So if I place this like so, that's the left hand side of the bike and that's the right hand side of the bike, and that's the middle of the pack, where a divider and insulator will run up the inside, keeping the same shape as this. So the pack is 72 volts, 50 amp hour, 100 cells at each side. And as I say, the cells aren't actually, well, there's a gap up the middle of them. And they've moved there now because they're not glued or with an epoxy glue. So when these are being glued in, there will be minimal glue used. So there's it back in shape now. So the head weight here is pushing down on the pack and it's not glued. So just to point out again, the cells will have an additional insulator or barrier between each one of them, so that they don't short. So let's say that the pack started vibrating, which it won't, because the way I will have it designed and they end up inside this frame, the pack won't be able to move. So there'll be no vibration between the cells or any rubbing, any slack cells. So I'll try this again, but as I say, the head weight here might push down on the the sails at this point. So see the way we've got a nice 10mm by 7mm gap between each of the sails. That's what I want, because in the end up I'm planning to force air through the pack to cool it down if the pack gets too hot. So it's an experiment, as I say. So running up the head, this part of the pack now. So let's say when I go to build this pack, obviously this will be more rigid with the epoxy, the glue in place. So if we look at this, if we look at the sails in the bike, they should be identical to the way they sit in the capsule, because the capsule matches the bike frame to a 1/10 of a mil. So it's really accurate. This back wall is actually 3mm plate. It's quite flat, so all the sails are sort of sitting like the way they would on a bench. So here is the configuration of my pack. So we have 20 strings. This piece of paper is soaking too. This bench is soaking, it's outside. So we have the first string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, sixth string, seventh string, eighth string, ninth string, and 10th string. And that is bank number 2. So this is bank number 2 here. And so this is your leg would sit on the bike. And there's the middle of the pack. And there we have all the strings labelled. So 1, 2, 3. So 2 3s in series, 4 5s in series, 6 7s in series. Matching this configuration seen here. So after this live stream, I'm going to move on with my smart glove. This is just a dry run today because I'm doing nothing. We have decided to do nothing because them stainless guards have taken it out of me the last while. So here we go on to a new project anyway. So head height now, start pushing down on the pack because we're running up to like a 2 row here and there's no support this way. No weight. So I'll try and hold it with my hand here. I need another one on here, my fingers. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to let go a minute here. I think not allowed one there. We're not allowed one there. We're not allowed one there. I'm going to look at this. So that configuration or that plan, the layout now is following the plans here. But obviously, when I go up to this point now, I need the sail held here, roughly. So that will come when I'm building the pack. So if I remove my index finger here, that will end up falling. There we go, so it's staying in position. So that's the dry run of the capsule completed for this short live stream. So as I say, the plans, this was configured on an earlier video on my, I'm going to call it a main video, not a live stream. And what we have here is 100 sails at one side of one bank of the bike. So I'm going to have 2 banks. They will be sitting beside each other. They will have an insulator up the middle between the buzz bars. And we will have a series connection between the 2 banks. So from here through to the other bank at the other side. And then we'll have the terminals of the battery down low here, where they will meet the BMS. So that's it. So there's 100 cells here. They're just placed in anywhere, just to do this live stream. So I'm going to remove these again. About the whole thing falling and wrecking the cells. I don't want the cells dinged. So as I say, when I'm going to build this pack, I will be doubling up on the insulation around the cells, so that there's the thing shifted there now, so that there's no shorts between the series connections. It's not really important to double up here in this parallel branch, but it's important between these series connections. Just in case, it's like a safety measure. We don't want the cells shorting out, because we're not using those spacers here. We have to be very careful. So these cells are Samsung 50S. I know there's a lot of people that don't like these cells and say they run hot, but I've got them now and that's what I'm running with. I'll build more pack in the future for a roller, bigger bike. So I will be doubling up on this insulation, this PVC insulation when it comes to it. But I won't be doing that for a wee while yet, for another 2 weeks or so. And I will be using epoxy glue. So the cells have all shifted now and the gaps have all closed up. So just ignore now, they're not even nowhere near in position. They fell down there. It should look like, what do you see here? It should look like this. Do you see the holes? The gaps. So rather than build the pack in the bike frame to keep the shape, it's better to do it this way because it keeps the bike frames curved like that. And you don't want the cells all sitting like this. You want them all parallel. Well, I do anyway. Or a nice uniform, nice shape. So the next live stream running today will be my smart glove. Moving away from the e-bike. I'm moving away from the compressor bolt. So I need to get back at it because I've been held up. So I'm talking about the glove itself. So that is the capsule. It works really well. It does what it's meant to do. So when I go to build this pack, do you see what I'm saying? If I put these cells in first. Do you see down here at this point? There will be 6 cells glued together first before if you can imagine now, if I go on here to try and place like a wee bead of glue, the glue needs to be minimal too, by the way. So obviously I'm not going to be using big chunks of glue. Can't really use hot glue gun because hot glue can break down at hotter temperatures, so I have to get some sort of an epoxy glue. The insulation on the cells will be doubled up. So the PVC shrink wrap, I'll just point out a couple of things here because this live stream's not running on that long. So if you can imagine this pack where we have the parallel branch, where I have configured the pack, it's not important to have the shrink wrap doubled up at this point, but it is important to have the insulation doubled up between the series connections. So when I go to start building this pack, it'll be in maybe 2 weeks time. The banks that will be joined in series. So the right hand bank here, left bank, right hand side. So that's the middle of the pack here. And this is the right bank, left hand side. So this is the middle of the pack, if you can imagine. And what I will have in the middle is another insulation piece of fiberboard or something in between the copper buzz bars. The 2 packs will be identical, but they will be joined together at series at the top here. So it's like having 2 36 volt packs joined in series. 2 36 volts, 50 amp hour. So when I go to build the pack, as I say, 6 cells will be placed on a flat surface first, and they will then be placed into the pack like so. Then I will start at this point configuring the pack to match these plans that have appeared on my channel. So I'll just do this first branch, this first string here. So the capsule keeps the cells in order. And when I place these cells in the capsule, I need to make sure that they're tight to this wall. So as I say, so it's like having the cells as they are in that box, flat, on a flat surface. Well, not the box, but a table. So if I look at this now, the first string has 10 cells, so 4 at the bottom, 3, 2 and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So there's the first string. So this first string, I have to put these on to explain this. So then 6 cells will be glued. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At that point, only because they'll be glued in this point very lightly, not too much, with the doubled up insulation, the barrier. And then I will start working at this point. And the only reason I'm doing them 6 first is because they're in an awkward position to glue. I can't really glue underneath them. I could take the pack out in the end and do that, but I want these 6 cells glued first. Then I will just keep working like so. So cell in, glue this side, cell in, glue this side, glue in here later when the cell's brought out. Place the cell in, glue here and glue here. That cell, same thing. Then I'll start reverse configuring the pack like so. Let me see, 1, 4, 5. That will be negative. I'll have another one. That there. So there's the pack starting to take shape there. So first string, second string, and third string. So the second string is this yellow face in here, and then the orange is a third, and then 2's in series. So that's it, everyone. I thought I would do a wee video today on that. But I'm done here now. This phone's on charge. So my next live stream today, maybe an hour's time or so, I'm going to start with the smart glove. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.